thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today. How are you and the rest of the band doing?
I don't know about the rest of the band because they're not here. I hope they're good. I'm fine. I'm fine, smoking away and drinking some Pepsi.
Oh,
So I'm good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Alrighty, well, congratulations on the release of your new album, Screem Writers Guild. Absolutely incredible piece of artwork there. So, how does it feel to finally have it out in the world?
Um, it feels good, of course, but it's funny because it's always with these albums, and especially with this one. It's like an old album for me and for the band already. So you know, by the time it finally an album comes out, it's like an old news already. For the band. So it's kind of really weird feeling every time, and especially this time because this album was done a year ago. We recorded this. I mean, I got the call January 22. I think it was the first Monday of January a year ago. And our manager calls and says, hey, start writing a new album. And I said, yes, sir. And by the beginning of June, we already, recorded the whole album. I wrote the whole album and we did everything.
Oh, wow.
So it was done already. It's been done almost a year already. So it's really weird feeling when now the rest of the world hears it and now it's out, and for us it's so old. Like last summer, for example, I was listening to this whole new album the whole time. But it feels good, but it's also weird.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, yeah. For me, it's an old album already.
Oh, I love it. So I'm just gonna take it back a little bit and talk about your new record label, Atomic Fire Records. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of joining forces with them and what it's been like working with this label for the release?
You should be talking to our manager actually, but because this is going to be a short answer because this is what happened. Our manager called and said that we were approached by Atomic Fire, and simply, I mean, we had no problem with AFM Records. We were very, very happy with them. Very, very, satisfied with, with the cooperation with them. But the fact of the matter is that that Atomic Fire guys, they gave us a deal that we, really couldn't or shouldn't, have refused. It was just too good of a deal that they gave us, and we said, yeah, we would have been stupid not to take it. That's how it is. I mean there's no very, very boring story. That's how it was.
Well, can you give us a little bit more insight into the development process of the album? Obviously, you've said that it's, been finished for almost a year now, so it didn't really take too long from start to finish. But were there any sort of creative challenges that you faced along the way?
It usually doesn't for me. I mean, it's really because I am a very creative and productive personality. I write all the time. And so and deadline is the best muse that I could ever have. And if I have the so-called, like, if somebody orders something from me, but hey, I want you to write a new album. Yes, sir. And I go right away, and I get the enthusiasm from that, just okay. I got the green light, and that's when I go. So it was very, very easy process, very, very naturally flowing process to write this album, because I knew that what I want to do is something that I would really like to. Well, I've been saying this quite a lot now, but it's like I wanted to write an album and have an album that would be like resetting the factory default settings of Lordi, because in 22 it was 20 years since our debut album Get Heavy. It was around 30 years since the first, since the band started, first demo and stuff like that. And also it marked the departure of our longtime guitar player Eamon at the same time, and then the new guy came in, Gone, and so and also when I started writing this album in January, it was only 2 months prior to that, in November, when we released Lordiversity box, which had 7 albums with like seven different musical styles of musical styles, styles that I like different rock genres. So I mean, yeah, sure, there's one album disco and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so after doing those little adventures within the musical framework of Lordi, it made a lot of sense to, and I really wanted to write your very standard Lordi sounding Lordi album, that this is Lordi, after that, really, and it was easy as hell. It was super easy, super natural. The songs just came like one after another, like that. Very, very easily, very, very, and that's the best thing when it happens. But usually, I am I'm not one of those guys. I don't know what is a writer's block. I have no fucking idea what the hell is that feeling. I mean, if I start writing, I write, and I don't quit before the song is done. I'm doing it, and whatever comes out, it comes out. And I don't have that much self-criticism. Also, when I'm doing something, it's like, even though I'm writing the song, who the hell am I to say if it's a good or bad song? So I'm writing the song, and at the time of writing, I'm always thinking of each and every song that I'm writing, that it is the best song that I've ever written. That's how I'm feeling every single time. Usually it isn't. It isn't the best song that I've ever written, but at that moment when I'm writing it, it feels like that, and I should feel like that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, yeah.
I love it. So with that sort of writing style of you sort of getting a brief and just running with it, was there any extra material that didn't make it onto the album?
Yeah, there's actually there's one song that was left out. Usually what well, of course, I mean, this time window was so limited here, because like I said, like less than 6 months. So so I pretty much knew that as long as I write songs, and as long as as fast as we have the full album worth of material, that's when we start recording, and that's what we did. Because usually the thing is that I have at least double the amount of songs that that would wind up on the album that are leftovers, because I demo so much stuff that there's usually at least like double the amount, sometimes triple. For Deadache album in 2008, there's 60 songs that I demoed for that album, and only those 11 songs made it to the album. So that means that over the last 30 years, there's closer to, I don't know, probably the number has to be like 700 unreleased Lordi song demos that are there. So in that sense, it's weird that there's only one song that was left over. But then again, because of the time frame that it was done quite fast, the whole process, and but if there would have been more time to write, which is good that there wasn't, there would have been more songs that would have been left out,
Yeah.
So, but there was one song that was left out, and it could have made it to the album. It was one of my personal favorites, but it was just a tiny bit too. It would have stood out from the rest of the songs in a bad way, in a way that it was a little bit less melodic song, and more like more like a Judas Priest kind of song.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wouldn't have fitted this Desmond Child like material, or this hair metal style that much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, will we ever hear any of those unreleased
Probably.
tracks? Is there a plan for any of
Yeah,
those?
probably this song, this particular song, probably that's the first one when we're gonna start doing the next one. That's probably a song that I'm gonna, check it out again.
Oh, fab.
Probably, most likely, because I really liked that one, but it just, I mean, even I could see that, okay, this doesn't really fit with the rest of the fucking songs. It doesn't really, it's not in the same vein.
Yeah.
And it isn't, so it was, I mean, I'm not saying that, for example, on this album, there's The Bride, which is very different from the others, but it's still, it's in the same family tree there.
Yeah.
It's in the same, it belongs on this album, but this song that was left out, it doesn't have the same feel to it than the rest.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. So probably I'll work on that as a very first song, when it's time to start writing the new one.
I'm looking
Which
forward to hearing
probably is
it.
next year when I'm start writing the next one, and probably 2025 is the next Lordi album, probably.
Fantastic.
That's how it is. It's always 2 years apart, always. That's how we roll.
Well, going back to this year in Screem Writers Guild, the album draws heavily from classic horror and the universal monsters. Do you have sort of a personal connection to these influences, and how have they inspired this album?
Well, I have. Yeah, I'm not a Universal Monsters fan per se. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert in those like classic monsters. I'm a horror movie fan and everything, and I've done my homework, of course, and like that. But I'm more a fan of modern horror films, in general.
Yeah.
I love the characters, though. I mean, they were the original, horror movie monsters, and that's why they are the classics. That's why they are the icons, and so it was just something that I had, because I always write music first.
Yeah.
And then lyrics, after that. So I had to have some sort of a theme in my brain, that what is this album, like a loose theme. And I thought that, okay, since musically I want to do the reset of the whole, band thing now, that this is like the, resetting of the, restoring the factory default settings of the band, like Lordi. I also thematically I wanted to go like to very classic horror and classic Lordi stuff. And one area that we haven't touched before is this like classic monsters and universal monsters and those all. Even though when I started writing the lyrics and thinking about the ideas, I was more thinking about the 80s movies. Like I was thinking about movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, and of course my favorite Evil Dead, and Hellraiser and stuff like that. But then again, I realized quickly that okay, there's quite a lot of Lordi songs that have some sort of reference to Evil Dead movies. There's even to Nightmare on Elm Street. There's references. God knows there's a lot of references to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, incredible film.
So okay, that I had to go way back even, but we have not yet done a song about werewolves. I've always tried to avoid the topic of vampires. So now there's 2 songs about vampires, Dracula and like kind of like Lost Boys kind of thing.
Oh, incredible.
And haven't done a song about Frankenstein, and so that's how it just the whole process was more like I thought I was I had my feet firmly on in the 80s, but actually I found myself in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, more or less. Even though there are these well obviously these things that I mean visually, of course, it's pretty classic. It's pretty like 30s, 40s. It's like a Universal Monster theme visually there, but lyric wise, if you check out the lyrics, the thing is that whatever might be in my head or my co-writer Tracy Lipp's head isn't necessarily something that would come across when you're listening to the lyrics, when you actually hear it. But for example, the first song, Dead Again Jane, is a weird combo, like a very weird combo of Jane Mansfield, who was an actual actress, who was killed in a car crash, and the rumor has it that her head was cut off in that car crash, and then the rumor has it that her last boyfriend was Anton LaVey, the what is it, the priest or the boss of satanic church, or what is
of
it,
course.
Church of Satan,
Yeah.
and all those conspiracy theories there, and her head was, allegedly that it was stolen from her grave, and la 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 la. So that is one part of this puzzle, and then the other part of it is because I wanted to write a song about Reanimator, the 80s movie. So then it's like, what if there would be a fanboy who would be a big fan of Jane Mansfield after she dies? So but this fanboy would have magically some sort of an capacity or capability of actually reanimating the dead, so he would go and dig her up from her grave, sew the head back on, and try reanimating her to him, to have as a girlfriend, but she just keeps dying, even though he just reanimates her time after time after time. And the reason, of course, would be that the ex-boyfriend had laid a curse on her, so she cannot stay alive. So yeah, typical day in the Lordi world. That's like that's how so yeah.
I mean, it's just such a cool concept for a song, and I'm so happy to hear that Evil Dead is one of your favorite horror movies. That is absolutely incredible. But back to Dead Again Jane for a minute. 4 days ago, you guys released the music video for that. What?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the process like of creating a music video for one of your songs?
Well, this is not. Well, I'm a film school graduate myself, from the mid '90s, and that would be my civil profession. If and I was working in the film industry in Finland before we got the record deal, and that's when I stopped doing that. So it's like my other home, and for the past decade, I've been more or less disappointed with every single Lordi video that we've done with any of these great guys, that we've been doing. But there's something that if you don't direct it yourself, you're bound to be disappointed at some point, because you will have a different opinion on something, and oh, we should have done it like that and stuff. Even though I've been heavily involved in pretty much on every single music video that Lordi has, but it wasn't until Borderline video, which was our previous video from the Lordiversity box, that I decided that okay, I will not accept the fact that I will be disappointed again if we get somebody else to direct this. So I decided to write it and direct it and edit it myself, and that was a good choice, because then even the fans were happy, the band was happy, the label was happy. Okay, this is how a lot of music video should look like, and. Well, like I said, it's my civil profession. I haven't been practicing in 20 years, but clearly, I still got something in my, it's in my blood. So now it was all clear for everyone that, when we do the music video, it's I'm gonna do it, again, which I'm happy, because I am enjoying the process so much. It's like coming back home after so long time again, So
I love it.
For this video, well, with any kind of music video, you have like two choices. Either you are trying to make sense to the lyrics and trying to put pictures that would somehow intervene with the or back up the lyrical content, visually, or then you can do a video that has nothing to do with the lyrical content, So this was the case that okay, this song is kind of telling a very clear story, so it kind of has to have a video that somehow tells the story what's happening. And yeah, so I mean, it was nice. It was really cool video to do, and I'm really happy with the outcome, and I'm really proud of it, because it's like and I used to earn my living as a storyboard writer, so I'm a very old school guy of, in my way of doing videos. I'm really old school, so I'm drawing, every single picture on paper, what we're gonna shoot, and then when you have like younger people in the shooting crew, and they're like, oh, because they're not used to that, and I come from the days where people were actually shooting music videos on film, so there's no, you just cannot keep rolling because you just have to, it's way too expensive to do that shit. You just have to take the actual shots that you need. You have to plan everything ahead. But then that actually, I think it shows in the final result that every single picture is thought of before you start shooting.
Absolutely.
I like it. I am really excited about that. I really enjoyed the process, and of course, I wanted to edit it myself too, and everything. So I'm a bit of it's something that I'm a bit of a dictator when it comes to Lordi. I want to do everything myself. I really want to do everything myself. And
I'd say more of a perfectionist.
Yeah, I am. And but then again, when you do it yourself, and if it sucks, you can only look into the mirror, and you can only blame yourself if it doesn't please you. Then so I think that's more fair to everyone involved. Rather than me, bad mouthing people. Good people who have done their best, but then I wasn't, satisfied with that fucking video. And I know it's not fair to those people, but then again, I was like, but please do exactly how I wanted it to be then. But that's been the case many times.
Yeah, well, you should be incredibly proud of that video, and your artistry is just unmatched. And talking about that artistry, the new costumes for this album cycle look absolutely incredible. Can you tell us maybe a bit of the horror influences behind each one and what it was like designing them?
Well, it was a bit of a weird trip again, because like I said, the album was already done before last summer. So that means that I also had to create the album cover and paint the album cover, and meaning that I would need to have some sort of a visual concept and content for the album cover before the new costumes and masks even exist. So I painted that picture just like from the tip of my head last summer, and we started doing the costumes this January.
Oh wow!
So I had the idea of the theme, that how I wanted it to look like, and then I decided, okay, for the album cover, I'll just do it like this. That I'll combine the universal monsters with Lordi characters, and I put them up, and that's where it started from. And then on the tour last fall, me and our prop master Psycho, we started planning the actual concrete ideas, that what could we do, and what could we actually maybe do from the album cover. So there are bits and pieces that, I mean, Mana, our drummer, is pretty much the same Dracula character now in real life than he was portrayed on the album cover. And Hela has a lot of that vampire Mila Nurmi kind of, the dress and that little, those things are there. He has a lot of that creature from the Black Lagoon theme there, and I have a little bit of that Dracula thingy going on, and Frankenstein thingy going on. But Kone, for example, a guitar player, he's a werewolf in the front cover. But of course, I mean, you really don't want to have a hairy cyborg, robot. That is just so stupid that even us, we won't do that. So it was just like it was pretty normal process in a way. But the designing part, I mean, because then it's just up to the thing that what is possible and what is doable and what makes sense to do more than anything else. In the end, that's where it comes down to. And let me tell you, it was a hard, long process, and we were up against deadlines like a crazy motherfuckers. Because we had a photo shoot and the video shoot in the same days planned already, so that we would have the video out on the release day. God damn! I started sculpting, or actually designing, the Lordi mask on New Year's Eve, and I just went out, just before midnight to see the rockets and shit like that for a few minutes, and then I came back to continue, and oh, well, the year has changed, and now it's 23 all of a sudden. So that's when I was, I started working on that, and we were working every single day until the photo shoot, and we almost didn't make it. It was really, really hard. The hardest part of the process on every Lordi cycle is the costume making, because there's never enough time for that. Never. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's incredibly impressive that you've managed to get it all done. And it's out there
Yeah.
now, and as I said, looks absolutely incredible. How important would you say that? Obviously, you've got a really distinctive style in Lordi, from obviously the costumes and even the stage setup. So, how important would you say the visual element is to the
Very.
overall Lordi experience?
Very. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this interview right now if we wouldn't look as pretty as we do. That's for sure. I mean that's the thing. But then again, I mean, for the first 10 years, I tried to get the record deal, and we couldn't get a record deal because of the way of the look. Yeah. I just, I decided that the band sounds like this and it looks like this. And for a decade, most of the record labels, they said, no, you cannot sound like that if you're looking like that. You either have to change your look or you have to change your musical style. With that look, you should play black metal, or, if you play this kind of music, you should, toss the silly fucking monster image and be normal. And it is very important, I mean, and this is what makes us Lordi. I mean, we would still sound like Lordi and everything, if we wouldn't, do a public appearance ever again. It would still sound the same, but it wouldn't be the same, like when Kiss had their makeup off for 17 years or 16 years in the 80s. It was still Kiss, but it was a different Kiss. It is the same band, and it's not the same band.
Yeah.
It has to do a lot, but it has. But this is where people usually, they get it wrong, because it has nothing to do with music. The look and the music, whether it's Kiss or Twisted Sister or Wasp or Alice Cooper or Lordi or whatever, Slipknot or Gwar or whatever band that has a strong visual image, it has nothing to do with music if you really think about it, because you are not writing this stuff with the costumes on and the masks on. You are not. Let me put it this way: the music comes first, and I believe that is true for all these bands, alike. That the music comes always first, and then the image is the secondary thing. But it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be important as well, because that's what makes these bands stand out from the rest of the band. Because let's face it, without the image of Lordi, we would be just another hard rock band. We would be just another hard rock band. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. So we are unique in that way.
Yeah,
we are playing
absolutely.
this kind of music, and we look like this. So that it is very important, of course. But then again, it doesn't make our music sound worse or better because of the music. It has of the look. It has nothing to do with each other.
Again, just want to say thank you so much for speaking to me. And is there anything you'd like to say to your fans out there that might be listening to this?
I'm really bad at this every time I say, well, take care. Hope you like the new one. I like it a lot. Come and see us if you can. Would be happy to see you. That's what I always say because I mean, yeah. What else is there to say?
Incredible.
If you like it, if you like it, it's a plus. Thank you. If you don't, fuck off.
There we go.
What do you know?
Plain and simple.